Alright, how we doing, folks? Your boy Marco's 1205 numbers after the name. Freestyle Friday, also known as Dark Souls Friday here for the time being, as I put my exploits over here in Dark Souls, the original, man. Play this on the 360 off of the Xbox One with the backwards compatibility, which we're a big fan of. This probably might be one of my longest boss fights, man. This was an epic, colossal battle, just like the music says. I mean, the opening cutscene for this guy, which I cut out, is amazing. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you look at it. It's really funny. You see the small hand, you're like, oh, dragon, and then his whole body comes out with like teeth on his rib cage. To me, this is one of the tougher bosses in the game. The gargoyles to me were a tough boss, and this might be, I think this was the toughest bosses that I faced in the game, the biggest challenge I felt like, because I just wasn't strong enough level. I didn't have a weapon that did like a lot of damage. I was using this halberd mainly for range purposes, not necessarily because of its damage. I just kind of, you notice I already dipped out of the shield. I was like, well, blocking doesn't really seem to be doing much good here. I'm going to try to use the iframes on the roll, which, as you can tell, are sometimes not the best over here. The range and just the litany of attacks that this guy has is large. It hurts you just to maybe like hit his sides. My initial plan was to kind of stick in the back and get his tail off. You get a weapon by that, I think, also as well, but I didn't really find it to be too great of a weapon. But just to get his tail, because without his tail, hitting him in the back becomes a little more feasible. He doesn't have the tail wipe. He has like a smaller tail wipe with like the little stub that's like left of the tail, but it's not this like gigantic like tail wipe as he has in the game when he has the tail. That was kind of my strategy. I also try to hit him on the side and sometimes in the front, as you see here. Especially, I mean, this is risky movement, man. Like, you really have to time well, and you kind of have to learn him. And this is after, like, dying to him, I think, for an hour and 15 minutes. And I finally managed to get past him. It was definitely one of the longest periods of time I was stuck in Dark Souls in any stretch. Maybe, I'm trying to think with the archers. That was probably, maybe the archer part was a little bit tougher there. I made it to Zen's Porches actually surprisingly pretty well. But the archers later on I got a little bit stuck on. I made it to the roof there. I didn't really get stuck. I got stuck in the paint world for like a little bit because I fought a dragon there that I had no business fighting over here. And as you can see, this guy just unloaded on me. Oh my goodness gracious. And there's moves here, like those moves here towards the end, he kind of gets like 2 or 3 other moves that he hasn't used because it's a little more aggressive or something like that. And it was insane when I got there the first time, and I was like, what? And I'll also tell you a funny story, man. I actually had this guy beat, man. So I had ordered some food, right? Girlfriend and I wanted to get something to eat, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna order some food, and then I'm gonna try to beat the Gamer Dragon before it comes over. And she was like, all right, cool. Ordered some food. It's gonna take about like 40 minutes to get here, right? It was just like some wings and pizza or something like that, something simple. And I timed it out where I was having a good run on this guy, and I literally had him down to, I don't know, 1/8 of his health. Like, he barely had anything. Like, it was up to, like, maybe the P of, like, his, like, gaping dragon right there. And I hear the doorbell ring. Before that, prior to that, maybe like a couple minutes before, like 5 minutes before, my girlfriend said she was going to start vacuuming the house. And I was like, all right, well, I ain't going to say no to that. I'll support vacuuming, you know what I'm saying? And, of course, she was vacuuming the house. The buzzer rang. She really sucks at answering the buzzer to begin with. She just doesn't do it. I'm not 100% sure why. And I knew that she wouldn't hear it, so I did something that I don't normally do because I don't really like doing it. I like peace and civility at the house, but I shouted. I was like, hey, Tina, yo, door. And she ain't hear me. She was busy vacuuming. And I had to get up. So what I did was, because you can't like pause the game. Maybe if you're playing offline, but mine kind of went online all the time automatically. I'm sure you can play offline. I just didn't really even care about changing it. So I couldn't actually stop the fight. So what I did was I ran away from the Gaping Dragon, sprinted out, hit the buzzer, came back in, and literally the guy was about to swipe me. I dodged his swipes, the middle of the one right there, and he came back and he hit me and I died. Or no, pardon me, he came back, he hit me, I rolled back and I rolled off the hole where he came from and I died. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That moment when you have that run, and that's something that you only really feel, or at least I've only felt in Dark Souls. I felt it sometimes, I felt it like a Ninja Gaiden. You know, I guess in real hard games. I felt it in Ninja Gaiden in the NES too. That moment when you have that run that you know is the run, like the run that's going to get you the W, like you know that was your best chance. That's how I felt at that point. I was like, that was it. That was the run. I was going to win. And then the damn pizza had to show up. So I go and I, obviously after that, I kind of just, it takes you back to the bonfire. So I go back to the bonfire, and the guy's at my door, so I hope I let him in, you know, and he's like, hey, and yeah, I didn't blame him or anything. I was like, all right, man, thanks, man, appreciate it, blah, blah. And I look at her, I was like, you didn't hear the door? You didn't hear it? She's like, no. And I'm like, oh, I was like, the Gaping Dragon. one of my favorite things about Dark Souls 2 is talking about Dark Souls, because talking about Dark Souls is its own like world, like it's literally its own lexicon and verbiage. People have no clue what you're actually like talking about, or if what you're even saying exists or makes sense. That's always like, you even know, man, I had the gaping dragon down on the ropes, man. I literally hit him with the R2. I was gonna say the R2 swing, whatever, the heavy attack, man. I had him on the ropes, and I had to go, and I fell in the hole, blah blah. And I had 3 Estes. And you start like saying words like this, and people are just like, what are you even talking about, man? What kind of like game is this that you talking about? It's RPG. It's what? It's an action game. You really don't know Dark Souls until you play it, man. And I honestly use this opportunity right here as a PSA for Dark Souls. If you haven't tried Dark Souls, and you think you'd modestly be inclined to, obviously if you don't like fantasy, for example, you're probably not gonna like Dark Souls, right? There's some things that, you know, if you don't like medieval looking stuff, I guess you're not gonna like Dark Souls. If you're like anti anything from the Renaissance era or prior, from like the feudal era, you're probably not gonna like Dark Souls. And if you get stuck in games, you don't have the time to maybe play a really hard game, you're probably not gonna like Dark Souls. But if you do like any of that, and you modestly, you know, if you like an RPG, even though I mean, it has, to me, it honestly has light RPG motifs. It's much more of an action kind of just rock, paper, scissors kind of game where the odds are stacked against you in a lot of ways, unless you know how to play the game well. I definitely recommend giving it a shot, man. It's by far one of the best gaming experiences I had in 2016. I'm getting through XCOM 2 right now. I'm playing some 2K, playing some Gears. Obviously, Infinite Warfare is right around the corner. That's kind of my docket here for this. But I got Dark Souls 2 sitting right there, and I'm going to go 2 and 3. Even though I've heard 2 is kind of a little bit of a bastard child kind of edge, but I'm going to go 2, because 2 when it came out was hot. Shit, like, everyone loved it, and now all of a sudden it's like, I don't really know about that. But I'm going to go 2 and 3. Your boy Marcos, man. I'm outie.